Done by Noon podcast, episode number 12. Today we're going to talk about how to create a sustainable self-care routine when you're a busy entrepreneur.
You're listening to the Done by Noon podcast, a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to achieve more by noon than others in a full day. Serial entrepreneur Dave Ruel and his co-host Chris Lopez share the strategies that will help you optimize your productivity, performance, and lifestyle so you can reach new heights in your business and life. So if you're ready to become the most efficient and effective entrepreneur you know, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show.
This episode is brought to you by the Epic Planner, the first planner made for the entrepreneurial brain. It's easy to fill your day with busy work. You feel like you're getting a lot done. But if you don't make time for bigger projects, you're just spinning your wheels and hurting your business. The Epic Planner is backed by a complete system to strategically plan your next 90 days. Break down projects into actionable bite-sized pieces. Optimize your work week and implement sustainable performance habits in the process. To learn more about the Epic Planner, go to www.epic.co. That's EFFIC.co. And use coupon code PODCAST at checkout to receive 10% off your order. Now, back to Dave and Chris.
She makes this 10% off coupon sound so exciting. She did a great job. She did a great job with these ads. We hired that lady, I can't remember her name, and to do the ads, and she did such a great job with them. Love it. How you doing, my friend? The party is still going on in the street?
The party is still going on. It's nonstop. They party from 11:30 in the morning up until probably about 5:30 in the morning. It's
is it the same party as last time? It just never stopped.
Basically, yeah. It basically is. It's funny. Yeah.
I love it. I love it, man.
Pura vida, man. Pura vida.
Pura vida. We're going to talk about self-care today. How to take care of ourselves when we're busy entrepreneurs. So if you own the Epic Planner, or if you read Done by Noon book, you're probably familiar with our basic self-care routine that we show, which is 5-point self-care routine. We're going to elaborate on that, but there's things that obviously this is the base of I would say self-leadership. The fact of just being the best you know what I mean? It just starts there with your basic self. So, we have, so Chris, we can elaborate on that, but I think the first step, and I don't know if it's how you deal with that, but it's hydration. I feel like, when you're like basic physiological needs, water is numero uno. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So, yeah. So the way, I don't know how you do that. The way I personally do it is that when I wake up in the morning, I have a half a liter, a tall glass of water when I wake up. It's kind of my activator through the day. Like it's like when I get started, it's to have that one thing, like that thing that just triggers me to get my day started. And that's my glass of water. And what I do after that, I just pour myself, I just fill a big jug, like a 2-liter jug of water. For the rest of my day, and I make sure I drink it through the day. So this way I know like I'm hydrated through the day. But I think basic self-care starts that. And if you can build a habit of properly hydrating yourself, and like, one of the things that I hate seeing is that, guys or entrepreneurs who like biohack before they have the most fundamental things taken care of.
Oh, yeah,
like drinking water.
That's my pet peeve.
It all the time. Like I see that all the time.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I don't quite understand it. Like I think it's right. Like I think there are certain principles that you have to adhere by, and then after that, the biohack is almost like the value add, right?
But that's that's the optimization. I feel it's such a rookie mistake.
Yep, for sure. I mean,
the
problem is that everybody's looking for the shortcut. I think, but what do I know?
Well, but the thing that pains me is that I see a lot of experienced guys, smart business dudes do that. And it's like, people who work out, when you start working out and people will just like going to take a shitload of supplements before they actually step a foot in the gym or actually like start, preparing proper meals. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like optimization with nothing to optimize.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
like I think water is the essence of life, and you need that water. So take care of that, and like what I'm going to show you, like the way I see like the self care routines, um, is the foundation. Obviously you can build upon that. It can be as fancy as you want with everything else, but at least have that. Don't be that guy.
Don't be
How about
that guy.
how much?
Do you?
Don't be that guy or gal.
Your question.
What was the question you wanted to ask? No, go ahead.
Well, how much do you add anything to your water, or is it just straight up water?
I got a Kangen water machine, which is a
Okay.
fancy machine that has like different pH and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and honestly, like I drink pH 7 water, so neutral. And I use a lot of the acidic water and alkaline water for my veggies, clean my veggies, things like that. When it comes to water, I'm pretty basic. Um, No, I usually keep it like just water. Some days when I just want to have a different taste on things like that, or on water, I'm going to add a little lemon to it.
Okay.
So I'm just going to throw a few slices of lemon in my jug of water. My wife is crazy for essential oils. Sometimes she's going to put like a drop, like one drop of essential oils in there, like Zen Jazz to help with digestion, things like that. But I mean, it's nothing fancy. One thing that I do often actually is that when I'm taking extra glasses of water,
Yeah.
we always have kombucha at home. So I pour maybe like 1/3 kombucha and the rest is water. So diluted
Really?
kombucha in some ways. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know, gives me some probiotics, not a huge amount, obviously, but give me some probiotics in the meantime. Tastes great. And I'm drinking water. So usually like the first in the morning, it's going to be like plain water. What about you?
I do water 100%, but what we do is we do rain catchment here in Costa Rica, and
Hmm.
then we filter the water as well. So because it's rain and it's evaporated water from the sky, it doesn't contain a lot of minerals in it, like
Yeah.
natural minerals like zinc or magnesium or sodium or anything like that. So I always add a pinch of Himalayan sea salt to it,
Mm.
just to get the minerals and the
Oh,
electrolytes.
sea salt, the ultimate power move.
That's right. It's the power move. You know me and my Cecil. I travel with that stuff. So that's what I do. So I'm exactly like you. Like I drink a half a liter of water, and that's the first thing that I put into my body as soon as I wake up. No
So
coffee.
if you guys want to
No.
biohack,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No. No
So if
coffee.
you guys want to
No pills
biohack
or
your ice
nothing.
cream, so if you want to biohack your chocolate ice cream, sprinkle some sea salt on it. It's a power move. So if you read the Dot by Noon book, like the word power move is the word that we use to illustrate your most impactful tasks that you could do in your business. But the true origin of the word power move, and this is where it comes from, it's from Chris and I pouring salt on chocolate ice cream and deeming it to be the ultimate power move. That's the word that we use. And it became some kind of lingo. And then it became the lingo or the word that I use to describe these type of tasks. So this is
That's
the
right.
weird origin of the word power move.
Because it was.
And we do, it was, but we do abuse this word to power move. It's a power move. It just became part of the lingo.
Yeah. So that's the power move. And it was so sorry. The first power move was the sea salt and the chocolate ice cream, but then the power move after that was adding peanut butter to it.
I mean, oh, dude, so right now so at home we always have that peanut butter. So it's like we find that here locally, like at the grocery store, but it's like coconut peanut butter. If you saw
Oh
that,
no. What is
it's
that
just
about?
no, dude. It's like I don't know. It's pretty much the greatest thing you'll ever eat. It's just fantastic. I just love that. I put that like in the morning. Sometimes I have that with a banana. Oh man, so good. We don't even eat regular peanut butter. Like it's just that coconut peanut butter.
I gotta
I
find
can't
that.
remember.
See,
I, okay, I'll come back. I don't remember the brand. It's a blue label. We have like yeah. I'm blind to the brand now because we had it. We have it in the house all the time. The kids love it too. But
fantastic.
yeah. So water. That's a good. That's one thing with water too is that mineralization is important. In the process. So what we do here, for example, we have so that's the we have the opposite problem is we have too many minerals in the water. So we have to use a water softener here at the house because we get the well water
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's too many minerals in there. So and some of the ones you don't want. So we have a water softener and then we remineralize the water. That's what we do. So it goes through a remineralization process and then through the Kangen water machine, which has another filter. So it's pretty filtered, great filtered water, remineralized, and it's good. But we tested it last time. It was last time it was good. I should do some these tests like annually to make sure like we got enough. But you can buy mineral drops too, right? I mean that you can put in your water.
Yep.
At Bioptimizers, like when I was with Bioptimizers, they don't carry the product anymore, but we had that product called Primergen. So it was liquid vitamins and minerals. And I was just putting drops of Primergen in my water.
Oh, that
But
was
they
like the
don't.
tincture, right?
Yeah,
It was like a
that was.
dropper bottle.
Yeah, it was a dropper, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had like the vitamins were orange color, and the other ones, the minerals were clear. And yeah, what I put in my water for a long time. And I don't know, like I hope I'm going to have to talk to the Bioptimizers guy. We'll have Matt and Wade on the podcast
Nice.
at one point
That would be awesome.
uh, to talk about digestion and optimization. I mean, I was involved with the company, but they were the optimization guys. They Wade and Matt are deep, deep, deep into anything uh, optimization. So human optimization. So yeah, water. Part number 2, self-care routine, exercise.
Hmm.
So tell me about your exercise routine right now because you're a busy dad, you're a kettlebell guy, you live in Costa Rica in scorching heat. How's your workout routine like?
It's pretty consistent. I found that now that I'm 43, I do a lot better with being consistent as opposed to being so intense. So I do something every day. I do something 6 days a week. I take one full day off where I don't do anything, but I exercise 6 days a week, and 3 of those days are moderate intensity. Well, basically, my routine is I do the kettlebell stuff. So I do one kettlebell exercise. It's called a double. I use two kettlebells. They're both each of them are a pair. It's 20. They're 24K. So that's 53 pounds each. So in total, it's 106 pounds. And I do what's called a double kettlebell clean and jerk, and that is
Yeah.
what my sessions are primarily they consist of. And I waive my loads. So I have a medium day where I do medium volume, and then I have a light day where I do light volume, and then Friday is always my heavy day where I do a heavier volume. And then those are 3 days of the week. And then 2 days I run hills with Roseanne and our two older daughters. On our property, we have a really nice hill that we can run up. So we run hills twice a week. And then 1 day a week, I just do like some mobility stuff. So I'm doing something every day. And in addition to that, Roseanne and I, it's part of our morning routine. So we both exercise at the same time. And then after that, we take the dogs for like a 30-minute walk. And that's part of our morning routine. So our morning routine is wake up, have my half liter of water, and then I meditate, and then I do some writing and some journaling, and then exercise, and then we go for a walk. And that's basically what it is. So exercise is number 2 of your thing. That's what my workouts are like right now. And it's been like that for the past, since COVID hit, I guess, at least. So since March.
So do you go instinctive with your training, or do you follow like a specific workout?
Am I instinctive with my training, or do
Yeah. Like, do you have like, or do you always like, let's say you cycle the trainings, like have like a 12 week
I do.
program?
So the way I do things is it's all based on seasons, and I mean, because we live in the tropics right now, there really is no season. But when you live in when it's hot outside, your body is able to accommodate and handle the digestion and the consumption of carbohydrates a lot better because vitamin D lends itself to carbohydrates and your ability to metabolize it. So, or metabolize carbohydrates. So during this time, I like to do very, I guess, glycolytic, like higher intensity type of work. And this is how I program some of the guys on my membership site, where we follow the seasons, and based on whatever season you're in, that's the type of training session that you're doing. So, and that's how I write my programs. So come the fall time, we do a little bit more of a muscle building type of thing because
Yeah.
from October to December, there's Thanksgiving, there's Halloween, there's Christmas. So you're eating a lot. So we try to, do some type of muscle building routine so that we can use all of that energy that we're taking in to build muscle. And then over the winter time, we just do some slower strength type of stuff where the metabolism is a little bit slower and we're not supposed to be eating that much. So that's kind of how I structure my programming as far as exercise. It gets a little bit deeper than that, but that's basically how it's structured, or how I've decided to structure things.
I love it. Yeah. I do a lot of the same thing with the seasons. Like my workouts or my activity tend to change depending on the season. I've been a bit, so for me, like I've been moving pretty much every day in some way, shape, or form for the past, all the time. When it comes to my training, I used to be pretty hardcore with trainings. The last time I was really hardcore with trainings when a few years ago when I started doing CrossFit. So I didn't really do CrossFit per se because I'm not I don't have that much. I'm not flexible, man. I'm terrible. So my flexibility, mobility was not my strong point. I mean, I come from the bodybuilding world and also powerlifting. So it was always like these very mechanical moves and, mostly for muscle growth, things like that. I loved CrossFit, but the problem is that I got injured like a couple of times trying to do, and that's my fault. Like that's totally first of all, my fault because I did not practice work my mobility for, a long time. And second was trying to do movements that I was not ready to make yet, but I got impatient, and I'm an ego lifter. That's my big problem, is that I love lifting heavy weights. And that's the one of the times where I'm like, you're just being a dumbass. Like, what are you doing? It feels like that's always the position I'm getting into. So, I got to reassess that. And I got injured. I tore my meniscus, and then I needed surgery and stuff like that. So that was the last time I was very, very intense. From there, I just started doing some more instinctive trainings, like going to the gym about 3 times a week. And then, playing hockey. I play hockey quite a bit in the summer. So I play hockey in the summer. And then I go to, I do a lot of housework, like gardening, things like that, lifting. I always work around the house to do like staying active, or even if it's like a day that I'm not going to have anything planned, I'm just going to go take a walk or something like that, just being active.
Yeah.
I got a need now, I'm turning 38, to be a little more structured now. But I got to find a new way if you want to push myself in the gym now. So I got to find a way where, if you guys have any recommendation, our listeners, to like a cool type of workout that I could start implementing that, is we can do high intensity stuff, but that keeps me really like motivated. I still like love the muscle part of it, having like muscular mass and this type of classic type of workouts.
Yep.
But bringing in like a lot of, I would say, movement to it. You know what I mean? Practicality. I think I'm there now with practicality. I know I said that quite a bit in the podcast episodes, but I mean, I'm heading more into a practical, sustainable way of lifting while retaining some kind of muscle mass, my muscle mass. So.
Well, the whole thing about muscle, especially when we get over the age of 35 as men, like we have to try to retain it. Like I have a program called the Fountain of Youth, and that's exactly what muscle mass is, especially for guys over 35. Because if you don't train to keep muscle or to put on muscle, your body, there's a phenomenon or a function within your body called sarcopenia, and that is your body's ability to selectively degrade your muscle mass if you don't use it.
Yeah.
So, and that's muscle mass due to aging or muscle loss due to aging. So you have to do everything you can after a certain age to be able to retain it. Now you can't,
Yeah.
the thing with that is though you can't do the same things that you were doing when you were 20. You can't do that when you're over 35, when you're 40, when you're 50, when you're 60. You can't do the same stuff like the men's health stuff and or the CrossFit stuff or the WOD stuff. That stuff isn't good. Your body will break down. So you have to do things very strategically
Yeah.
now. So
That's where I realized after 35, your body starts breaking down.
yeah, yeah.
And honestly, like as a young guy, you can get away with a lot of stuff.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
I mean, I remember like all the shit stuff that we were doing in the gym, and like, wow, like no wonder now that I'm paying the price now. It's crazy,
Yeah.
like the amount of weights and stuff. But no, yeah, uh, that's something to figure out. But the bottom line is that just move every day. Do something to move. You don't need to have like a performance, exercise routine. If you like, it really does not matter. It could be sports, could be whatever. It's funny, if I coming from the bodybuilding world where like there's weightlifting where you build on muscle, and every other type of of activity is considered cardio. Isn't it the weirdest thing?
Yeah.
Like you're just like, it's like, yeah, the gym time to muscle building time, and then everything else is cardio. And then you're like, oh, I'm shoveling the driveway today. Does that count as cardio? So then you don't have to go on the treadmill today. Like that's just a weird way of, like it's such a weird mentality. That's the mentality I was in for like a long time, Chris. Oh man, counting like all the calories and the cardio. That's insane.
Well, I think
now,
as we're older now, I think a lot of people make the mistake. Like our training, our workouts when we go to the gym, they should be there to support our active lifestyle. Like an active lifestyle should be a natural part of what we do every day. And I think the big mistake that people make is that they take the 3-4 times a week that they go to the gym for 30 minutes and they use the gym as a means of their active lifestyle. But active lifestyle is all about playing with your kids, like what you do, playing hockey in the summer, or, going to play beach volleyball, or playing pickup basketball with your kids in the driveway, and going for walks or hikes with your wife or your husband or your partner or whatever, like doing that kind of stuff. Like after you get to a certain age, you have to really start to incorporate the active lifestyle. And the earlier you do it, the better it'll be for you because you're ingraining that habit.
And doesn't need to be just like, exercising, but just getting into the habits of moving. I see my grandfather is 82 years old, and he lives in a place like in the summer from May to November, like pretty much from when the ice melts, because it's an area that, where the sea is all frozen. And when the ice melts and he can access it, he spends is from May to November in a place that can only be that is only accessible by boat.
Yeah.
So you can only get there by a boat. He's 82 years old, lives there, he has his own garden, he's self-sufficient. Like he has like solar panels and stuff. It's crazy. You should see the setup. It's fantastic. And he hunts, he fishes, he does all these things. And he's in such a great shape for 82 years old, but never lifted weights.
Yeah.
He never really like just basic, food habits and staying like active like that. And he's 82 and if I can be like him at 82, great. But I see the secret. There's no secret. It just stays active.
Yeah.
He does a lot of work around the house, things like really active work. We always make fun of him because he's 82 and he's always like in a rush. Like, I don't have time. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't have time. That's all you got. That's all you got. And he goes to my parents' house and he's like, I got to go. I can't stay. I got to go. I was like, where do you have to go? Exactly. You know what I mean? And we just it's funny, but I think it's based supporting an active lifestyle. Let's move on to numero tres, which is gratitude, part of the daily self-care. You practice gratitude, Chris?
I do. That's part of my journaling. Well, it's part of my journaling routine in the morning, but also Tony Robbins has these 7 morning power questions, and one of them is, what are you grateful for? And so when my wife and I go on our walk, we go through these 7 questions, and one of them is, what are you grateful for? And we talk about, we ask each other what that question, and we talk about what we're grateful for. So gratitude, practice that every single day.
Do you use the 5-minute journal or another tool?
I use the Ethic Journal actually, Dave.
You just do the reconnection phrase daily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I do it too. That's the way I do it too with the Epic Planner. It's just like I realized, like my wife's a psychotherapist, so it's like she's obviously like big on these things. She created even like a gratitude journal in French, and but I find like sometimes redundant. You know what I mean? Like having multiple like having not to come up, but I'd rather be like super true to the point and knowing like what am I the one thing I'm grateful for today,
Yeah.
you know? And I feel like I can focus better. I don't dilute things. Like it's something that like I like mega grateful for. And then I reconnect. Like if you guys have the Epic Planner, you familiar or read Done by Noon book, there's a reconnection phrase there, which is a fill in the blank that I do every day. It's today I'm grateful for, and it's one thing. And then I keep in mind that it's to keep something. It's to keep something in mind that's really important for you. So it's beyond gratitude. It's to keep in mind, like always keeping in the forefront that something that's very important for you. Could be values, could be a project, could be something. Yeah, anything important, but keeping that and takes literally like a minute to fill. But I feel like it has one of these compounded benefits, over long term on your not just on your mental health, because I think it's just on cultivating like an outlook on life that is not based on taking
Selfishness.
things for granted. It's just basic things that you can be grateful for that we all gonna forget if we don't do it.
Yes.
And get caught in the bullshit of daily life. That's really it,
I
right?
think I think gratitude also reframes your perspective. It reframes your
Yeah.
perspective in terms of from selfishness to selflessness, right? We all have a tendency to be a little self-absorbed and to always worry about number one all the time. And I think gratitude gives you a point of inflection where you can really think about all of the things that you have, and like what you said, not take things for granted. So I think it's hugely important, especially first thing in the morning, before you pick up your phone, before you do anything else. Always look at what you have and what you can be grateful for, because there's always something that you can be grateful for.
Yeah, that's one thing too, and I like that. I agree with you. I like to put it like in the morning routine. What we're talking today is a self care routine, but I think the problem is that I think a lot of people just put too much pressure on themselves to make it a morning routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it could be just a routine that you put, you act on through the day. For example, my 5 points. Like I'm not going to have the exercise done like in the morning first thing. It's something that right now I'm working at 11 in the morning. Some other times, like when the kids were younger, I used to have like wake up and work out first thing. At like 6 in the morning before the kids were getting up. So it changes all the time. The key is to have something done through the day. It's consistency. Like on the grand scheme of things, no one cares if you exercise at 11 or if you exercise at 4 p.m. or whatever. It's just the act of creating that routine, or that beyond the routine, I would say integration in your life.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, integration. So there's that. So there's another one. There's another point that we have in the Epic Planner, and it's meditation. Are you a meditative guy? Like, do you meditate, Chris?
I do every day. That's part of my routine. I
So
meditate for 12 minutes every day.
12 minutes. Let's go. Put me through the process.
So I use, if you're not familiar, there's a gentleman, a neuroscientist by the name of Sam Harris, and he has an app called the Waking Up app, and he has daily meditations on there. But he also has I think it's a newly formed 28-day course that teaches you mindful meditation, vipassana meditation. So I've been doing that. I've been meditating ever since Holosync came out back in 2006. I think I picked up the Holosync CDs, and that's what turned me on to meditation. So when I was younger and my kids were younger and they were in school, I used to, after like a long day of traveling all over the city, I would park my car in the parking lot of their school 30 minutes before they got out, and then I would throw on these Holosync CDs with my headphones on, and then I would sit there and meditate. And then that would be my switch. But now I've changed my meditation to first thing in the morning. And so I read a research study, I think it was in New York. It was popularized. It was popularized in the New York Times, where they took soldiers, U.S. Army elite forces, and they put one group through 30 minutes of meditation, and they put another group through just 12 minutes of meditation, and they found that the benefits were equal whether you meditated for 30 minutes or you meditated for 12 minutes. So that's where I got the 12-minute number from.
That's good. And that's just to show, I think, like, especially nowadays, like, there's so many like different approaches to meditation. Yeah. I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves to like have these elaborate, style of meditations and shit. And like, honestly, like, that's one thing that turned me off meditation, why I did not meditate, because I was not understanding that meditation is what you want it to be. Like, just the key, like, really, like, the basic thing, like the basic thing is just to be with the mindfulness, be with yourself, focus on your breathing, and just take the moment. You know what I mean? Not focus on all the bullshit, like, just block everything that goes through your head and just be mindful of your body. And when you do that, like, it could be a short period of time. Like, that's in my opinion, the gateway to greater, I would say, maybe self-respect or self-awareness.
Yeah.
Like, in some ways that I'm like I incorporated, but for me, it's like, some people would look at it, or purists that would be like, oh, it's not really meditating. No, it's like, it is. It's like, I'm with myself for X number of minutes a day. I don't have like a 12-minute process, Chris. It just, for me, just starts. But like, usually translate into like, after I have my glass of water, I pour myself a cup of coffee, and I just take like 5-10 minutes for myself, like on the patio, focus on my breathing, take it in, and that's, for me, that's my meditation. Another time that where I consider meditation is when I smoke a cigar. And I'm going to quote Ron Perlman on this. Like, some people meditate, I smoke cigars. But the point is, like, the main point, I think, about meditation is just to spend time with yourself. And if you're a parent, if you're a dad or a mom, you know how hard it is sometimes to just be with yourself. And I think the meditation, because meditation, you have to introspect, you have to be there with yourself in some ways. There's group meditations and stuff like that, but the goal, really, in my opinion, like, is just a gateway to more, self-awareness, self-respect.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, part of the reason why I like the sound, so you talked about focusing on your breath, but your mind will naturally wander. And the beauty about meditation is the recognition that you're thinking about something else and no longer focusing on the breath. That's the essence of meditation. That is, like, you're able to recognize that, and then you're able to come back to the breath. And the more you meditate and the more you practice it, the faster you are at recognizing that you're thinking about something else, and the faster you are bringing it back to the breath, or bringing it back to whatever it is that you needed to focus on. That's the skill of meditation. The skill of meditation is not completely shutting your mind off and focusing on breathing. That's next to impossible for anyone to do. Mm-hmm. So it's the recognition that, hey, I wandered again, let me come back. And then, hey, I wandered again, let me come back. Like it, and so you get better at that. And that's the essence of meditation. It's not, I failed because I couldn't concentrate for these full 12 minutes. It's impossible.
I know. But that's what I'm saying. Like, when you start with the breathing, it just builds, it's like you start the diesel engine in some way. You start it, and then from there, your mind is naturally going to wander, and it's to bring it back, blocking like some thoughts you might have that are totally irrelevant, and bring it back. Yeah, it's an inexact science. I feel it's just like something that is important to do on a personal basis, to do daily, But yeah, I mean, and whatever floats your boat, honestly, I'm not, for myself, I'm not like a, deep meditation type of guy. Some guys are super deep about it, but yeah, that's another thing where, the rabbit hole can be pretty deep on
for sure.
Meditation.
Yeah. No, it's a tool.
Last but not least, it is. So last but not least on the list of the self-care routine. So we said water, exercise, meditation, gratefulness, and the last one is healthy food.
Huh.
How basic is that for self-care? But here's the thing, and if you're an entrepreneur listening to this and you're busy and you realize that, I challenge you to track your eating habits and how much what you've eat through the day because you were busy or you didn't have time to eat or you ate that or something convenient. And this is the kind of stuff that compounds over time too, when it comes to your health, when it comes to, being a good, sustainably performing person, is that plays a lot, in the balance of your health, of your self-care. What's your what's your, I was that food routine, but how's your how are your meals now? Like how do you eat at home with the kids? Like what's the base of it?
Um, so we don't eat a lot of junk food. My kids like to bake. My Michaela is she's an incredible baker, so she's baking something like every day. But we use all natural ingredients. We don't have a lot of processed food available where we live here in Costa Rica, so everything like I go to the fishermen every morning and I see if they've got anything fresh, and if they do, then I buy it, and we've got fish, we've got dinner for the day. Um, but from a food standpoint, I don't eat breakfast because I'm not hungry in the morning. I find that I'm more productive when I don't eat. Some people like breakfast, some people don't. If I'm hungry in the morning, then I'll eat breakfast. Throughout the day, I don't eat much, and then at dinner, I eat freely. I don't overeat, but I eat freely enough so that I'm not showing my kids that I'm depriving myself or giving them a false recognition of something being unhealthy when it really is healthy. Like I won't purposely cut carbs because, like I'm not going to cut rice because it's unhealthy. Like I won't do that kind of stuff. So I'm very big on, especially when my kids are around, about my relationship with food and making sure that I'm not sending the wrong message about what we're eating. But I mean, I'm not vegan, so I eat meat, I eat fish, I eat protein. I try to eat protein with every meal. If there's one thing that I track, it's my protein intake, and because I have a tendency to undereat on protein, so I make sure that I eat enough protein
Yeah.
throughout the day. I will practice 24-hour intermittent fasting 2 times a week, as per our good friend Brad Pilon. So he was the one who really got me started on that way back in 2007 when I first met him and I read his book. But other than that, like I just eat, I eat normally. I mean, lots of fruit, lots of vegetables, lots of healthy fats, lots of, natural starches. So I eat a lot of rice and sweet potatoes and potatoes, and then good protein, and then the
How,
occasional baked good every now and then.
yeah, how's the access to, like, obviously junk food in Costa Rica or where you live right now? Do you have access to it, or is it like widely still like available, or are you pretty shielded from it?
No, we have access to it, but there are a couple of things. Like, so the Costa Rican junk food or the South American junk food that they have available, like the chips and the Cheetos and the corn chips and all that stuff, it's not very good. So we
Yeah.
don't buy that. And then they import stuff, but like,
Hold on, plantain chips are great.
oh yeah, well no, that okay, that's different. Yes, the plantain chips are amazing.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. So yeah, we do have that on occasion, but the other stuff that they import, for example, a bag of Ruffles potato chips, one bag costs $5 here, American.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
So the incentive to buy, like, and whatever, like I just can't wrap my head around buying a $5 bag of potato chips that I could buy for 50 cents in Canada. Like it doesn't, so I can't, so we won't buy that stuff. So it's like whatever. So when we want a snack, we go to the fruit stand where I know the guy and I know how he picks his fruit. And so that's what we have. But the junk food is not, the only junk food that we eat is whatever the kids bake. And if you even want to consider that junk food.
Yeah, but it's big. But if it's made for local ingredient, and I mean, that's the thing. After a while, like I realize, like when you like removing the stress from food, for me, it's been huge. As far as like, because I mean, I lived like a very long time with a very regimented food plan, that was all towards building muscle and, performance, like, on the physique side.
Yeah.
And when I decided to stop, stop being a competitive athlete, and now that um, it became a hobby per se, I had to change the way my relationship with food completely, right? And I really, like you said, like the relationship with food, because I had to go through that, kind of breakup with like the bodybuilding, type of food or a way of eating, to, I would say, more of a regular way of eating. And that was before the kids too, right? So I think
Yeah.
the decision that I made, the conscious decision, was like, okay, I'm going to privilege the types of food that I can, like, traceability was a big thing for me. And when we moved to Tracadie, where we live now, which is, a rural area. It was very important for me that I could have access to locally sourced foods, or where, I knew where it could come from. Um,
Amazing.
but the thing is that, and you know it too, is that it's not because it's local that it's naturally, like, healthier. Like, I realized that a lot of farms here still use pesticides, and it was like, you would think that a rural area is like, oh, it's fresher. It's not. A lot of things, like, they still, like, I know a lot of farmers here locally still use pesticides in their, in their fields. So I
Yeah.
think, like, what made me realize that I'm going to look for, like, sources of food where I know can be good, like, and even if you have organic certified stuff, it's super hard to do. So what we do is, actually, we clean up all our fruits and vegetables with our Kangen water machine. So we actually put them into acidic water first,
Okay.
and that's crazy, Chris. Have you seen that? Like, the like, putting, like, vegetables in Kangen water.
No, I've never. I know that you had the machine
Wow.
because you had the machine when we came
Yeah,
there to visit you a few years back. But I've
I had
never.
this for
No, I've
10
never done it.
years. Yeah. So it's pretty insane. Like, you put a machine there, you put in 2.5 pH water. So, like, you can see, like, the amount of stuff that comes out of of the fruits and vegetables. Sometimes, like, the water is like brown. It's crazy. And from there, like, you put in a super alkaline bath, which is like 11.5 pH, and then, like, cleans up the food and everything like that. Then I do a little rinse at 7 pH, and yeah, we have, like, this is a way we can control that in some ways with fruits and vegetables. When it comes to our meat, I hunt and I fish as much as I can, which is not always easy, because it's always like, there's a license system, right? So sometimes it's a draw. So if your name's not picked up for the year, you cannot hunt. Let's say moose, for example. Yeah, you're going to kill a big moose, but you're not going to have enough. You might have enough meat for a year or two, but you're not going to have, like, that much. Like, it has, and sometimes you can go, like, 5 years without a license, right? So you got to be careful with that. What we have found is, like, we source, we buy our meat from a local farm here. So what they do is that they raise their, like, no antibiotics, nothing, like, directly. They have a huge, uh, field, like a huge area, pretty much like in the woods and stuff, where they raise their cows, porks, lambs,
Oh, I
chicken, you
love
name it.
it.
Yeah, so it's huge, and we do that. So the way, like, Natalie, who takes care of that, who's our farmer, she, every spring, she takes orders for the year, so they will know, how much, they can raise and harvest and things like that, and then, like, different cuts of meats. So we're like, okay, we're going to take half a cow, we're going to take, like, a pig, and this and that. So we give a deposit in the spring, and usually starting in the fall, they're going to start bringing us meat. So we always have a freezer full of meat because of that. Like, there's always a roll with it. I try to keep some fish from the fishing season here. So we're lucky enough to have a lot of striped bass, trouts. Salmon now is, like, prohibited. Like it's only catch and release locally, so we can't catch the salmon. But we're trying to have that, some deers, things like game meat. I still have moose meat from the one that we harvested 2 years ago,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, this is the way we eat our meat. So this is those the big part because we're very North American, like in our meat consumption. Like we eat a lot of meat. Yeah, we try to have that. We try to incorporate some, like, we have our staple recipes. Like we're not crazy on the organic stuff and stuff. Like we're gonna have some pasta and stuff like that. But I mean, we're trying to keep it, as healthy as we can. That's how I could say, or as where we would know where it comes from. So that's the way. But then we have our weekly, the girls call that the party, and we go to order pizza and like have a movie with them, and not crazy, but I would say 90%. Who said, was it Berardi who said that? He said as long as you're 90%, your food is 90% clean, your diet is 90% clean, like you're gonna be fine. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
it was him who
Like,
said that. Yeah,
you don't need to be like too crazy about it. I think it's Berardi who said that, and who was giving that ratio. But it's true. And 90-10 is super. It's easy to do.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Do you track
yeah, and
calories still at all?
no, I don't. I don't.
No.
I kind of know now. I kind of know with foods like with portion size.
Yeah.
Like, and I do the same thing now. Where I rarely. I don't eat until lunch. So I get in the morning. I get my coffee in the morning. Sometimes, like it's not 100% of the time. Sometimes, like the girl, like we make our own bread, and my mother-in-law makes bread too, and it's delicious. So the girls love to have bread in the morning, like their grandma's bread. So, and we do our own jams and things like that. So we do that. And by the way, I still have that butter that you send me. I still have some
How do
butter
you
that
still have that?
there is some that's frozen, and sometimes I just take it out and have it on my toast.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
so
Yeah.
frozen.
No,
So
that was from
remember,
my farmer back when we lived back there. Yeah.
because talk about it for a sec. Like it was like you had like a fractional ownership of a cow, so you could get some raw milk and raw butter and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. And so I think it was, what was it, Christmas or something? But I gifted all of us, all of you guys, like a pound. I think it was a pound of butter, and it was amazing because we had this relationship with the farmer, and so we went to go see him. His name was Brad, similar to what you have there. And
Uh-huh.
so we had bought half a cow. We had split with a friend of ours, and then we had bought some pigs, lamb, chickens, and he would just come and deliver every week, and we would have that. It was and that's how we ate. So that it's one of the things that I miss the most about Toronto is the accessibility of that. There are grass-fed farmers here in Costa Rica, but for the most part, the pesticides are just really expensive here,
Yeah.
and so it benefits the farmer for them to just go completely
Okay.
grass-fed,
Yeah.
pesticide-free, organic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like it. Yeah, but remember that, like, and remember it used to be like, because you could not send like through the mail like butter and things like that, right? And remember it was getting confiscated. I don't know how, but I like you were sending me packages and you could track it, and all of a sudden, like this thing, like I don't know if they would see that it was butter or something. It was like I think I had 3 or 4 packages that was confiscated. It was
yeah, I
crazy
remember that. There was some Happy Canada Post
because
guy with all this grass-fed butter. That was
I know, yeah, because technically, like, if you can do it if you own the account, that was a loophole you had, right? Because you
yeah.
had like that fractional ownership, but like in Canada, you cannot do that. You cannot buy like raw milk, like it's
Yes.
because the industry is like it's all fucked up. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know, like yeah, I don't know how we segue to your butter, but. Oh yeah, the toast. Yeah, so yeah, I like see that like the way we drifted. Um, yeah, I have like sometimes I'll have toast because like it's delicious, but other than that, I don't eat in the morning. I just have portion control, not too much at lunch, and then I have a bigger supper. So this is the way I pretty much deal with it. Yeah, plenty of hydration. I limited my coffee intake too. How do you go with your coffee? I know you're a coffee guy. You're a big coffee guy, but what's your intake
Um,
right now?
So I do, and Rosanna and I share a French press in the morning, but I'm up to like only one. I'm one cup a day, and then if if we have a good barista here in Costa Rica, and if he's working, then I might have an espresso in the middle of the day. But usually, I'm only one cup of coffee a day. I found that I was getting very jittery, and I'm pretty mellowed out. But then I find the coffee really affects me. If I have a second cup, I get very
Yeah.
anxious and high strung and jittery and everything. So I just cut it down to one cup a day, and it's more. I think it's more of a ritual than anything
Yes.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. You feel like with age, like that, you react more strongly to coffee now.
You know what? I'm finding that I gave up coffee for a month. I had dengue fever almost 2 months ago, and I didn't want anything to do with coffee at all. There was no way that I could have it. It's just the general taste of it. So while I had the dengue fever, I mean, it lasted for a week, but I gave up coffee over that week, and I said, you know what? I do this every year anywhere, where I give up coffee for at least 1 month. So I said, why don't I just do it right now? And I did, and I just stuck to drinking tea, and it was great. I found it was great, and I was less anxious. But then, like I said, it's the whole routine and the ritual of coffee that I really love.
Yeah.
So I came back to it. But it's good to know that I can get off it with very little side effects or withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, because I find like with age, I was like, fuck, I was getting like more, yeah, bigger withdrawals and yeah, more jittery and stuff, and I never had that before. So the way I did, and that's my friend Dr. Stephen Cabral. If you don't know
Yeah.
Stephen, he has a very popular podcast. You know Stephen, right?
Yeah. We met way back when he first got online. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an OG, but Stephen's a naturopathic doctor, and he what he advised, like, just do half and half, like regular coffee and decaf. I was like, oh, interesting. So I said, that's what I started doing. I started doing half and half. So just mixing actually my coffee grains, like the decaf and the regular ones. That's what I did. And I didn't like taste wise, tasted the freaking same. And I realized that I was less and less like feeling, less agitated, or that I didn't need that coffee, like afternoon coffee, to get like a kick of energy again. Like, and that's what I did. And now I moved just to one cup of coffee in the morning, and I don't even crave it now anymore. Like I'm exactly the same as you. When I would go to a coffee shop, let's say in the afternoon, I might have a cappuccino or like even an espresso. But these have like actually a lot less. But that's one thing people don't realize, that an espresso has less caffeine than a drip coffee,
Yeah.
just because of
Yeah.
the exposure to the grain, right? So
Yeah.
it's actually not bad. But yeah, I'm with you. It's on the ritual. You still use the French press, right?
I do. I do. I use a French press because that's what we have access to. I don't trust espresso machines here in the climate that I live, because it's so humid. So from a mechanical standpoint, if an espresso machine were to break down,
Yeah.
um, it would just it would break
These
down
things are
really.
nasty. It's like the Keurig machines and all these like instant, like the pods, like coffee pods machines.
Yeah.
These things are filthy, man.
I can't,
Like,
and the amount of waste that it creates for those
yeah, yeah.
pods, like I can't wrap my head around that. It doesn't make sense to me. There
You,
is,
you,
you know what? Speaking, we were talking about Brad Pilon, or I had mentioned Brad before, but Brad
you
has,
know,
he
I'm
has
going to
a,
bring Brad to the podcast, by the way.
you
We'll
should, yeah,
talk
we
about
should. He's
talk
pretty
about
funny.
fast.
But he has this new espresso machine. I think it's called the Flare, and it's not mechanical. So basically, you use hot water, and it looks unbelievable. He showed me a picture of it and how he was
Flair?
pulling it. He said it was like the best espresso that he's ever had, and it doesn't use any electricity. So I'm gonna check. That's on my
What?
list for when I go back to Toronto.
What is it? The Flair?
Yeah, it's called the Flare. Do you
Wow,
know
I'm
it?
gonna okay. No, I'm gonna Google that. Like after we're recording this, I'm googling this. You know. I used the Costa Rican chorador to drip my coffee for years and years.
The one that we got back in surf camp.
The same one.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
It's still sitting on my counter. I don't use it because my wife hates it, because she hates these bags. She says it looks like a ball sack, like a hanging ball sack. So if you guys are not familiar with a chorador, it's like a wood structure, and then you have a bag, and you put your coffee in it, and it's drip coffee. So yeah, she hated that. She's like, yeah, it's like, and that's the thing, like, because the ball sack needs to dry, because otherwise it's super hard to get like the grains out and stuff. Like we had to stay there for a few hours. And I'm like, so anyway, I just moved to a regular drip coffee style,
Oh
like
man.
just drip coffee, just basic. Like I have actually an IKEA, the one I got from IKEA, I think, like a couple of years ago,
A
and I
drip
just put a
machine?
filter. Yeah, just a drip like thing, like the one you put over the mug, like it's a 1 month thing. You put over the mug, I put a like a filter in the coffee, and then you drip hot water, and that's it. That's the way I do it. That's all. But I used to chore a door for a long time. I'm going to look at that, the Flair espresso machine now. I'm
Yeah,
excited
you
about
should. I was, you know what, I was thining about you when I mentioned it when he first mentioned it to me. I was like, oh shit, Dave would really like this. Yeah,
that. I'm going to take a look. Cool, man. So that's that, dude. Quick and easy self-care routine. We just go and talk about like for 55 minutes about it.
yeah,
But that just show you, like, and give you guys an idea of like the basic, 5-step routines. But obviously, you can go. That's the thing. You can go deep in the rabbit hole if you want to, like on any single one of these points. We talk about even water. It's like, yeah, you can go crazy and go check the Kangen water or whatever. And there's like this Kangen guys, and there's like this other guys, and then there's the ozonated water guys. I mean, whatever it is, I mean, it's up to you to go deep down the rabbit hole. For me, I keep it simple. Like that's my thing. Like I just strong, basic, sustainable routine. Sometimes going to go a little bit, bit more into something like exercising or different, diets and like, different approaches. But otherwise, like, I mean, it's just the basic, right? Basic
yeah,
self-care. And this is the base. That's the gateway to great self-leadership. That's the gateway to base to every single thing, whether it's going to be your discipline at work, in your family life, everything. I mean, it's just like if you read that line, I hammer that point, the self-leadership side of things. That's you got to start with small things, to have that. So that's what it is. That's good. I'm going to put that on the list. We should invite Pilon and talk about fasting. And there's definitely going to be some jokes, because Pilon is a hilarious guy. He's a good friend of ours. Like we've known Brad for a long time. But
yeah.
if you want to know about what he's doing, eatstopeat.com, or type just eat stop eat, and that's his bestseller book that he's been selling for what now, 15 years.
Yeah, 2007, I think he wrote it.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's an OG in intermittent. He was into intermittent fasting before intermittent fasting was cool.
Yeah, he was a pioneer. Like it was him and a couple of other guys that really brought it to the forefront in the mainstream. So he would be a good guy to have on. I'm always referencing him. He's really super smart guy too. Funny, but like incredibly intelligent.
Yeah, that's funny. Because, I mean, we've had, that's funny because we've had like a pretty good core group of friends, like, mostly from the online business world, that we've carried for a long time, right? So it's going to be fun to bring them to the podcast. And
yeah, we were talking earlier about gratitude, but like that group of friends and that network, the original guys, one of like at least once a week, I always tell Roseanne, or I write down how grateful I am to have a group of guys like that, like you guys being my friends and always being able to turn to you guys for advice, or if I ever need anything. So that's it's a big deal for me personally, being a social person.
Yeah, me too. It's super like but you have to you have to maintain these groups, right? So that's the thing. We're all dads. We all live in different parts of the world now, and like we do have our meetings monthly, and we're going to talk about it in the next in a future episode about the I would say the importance of building this type of network, for your growth. It's all you talk about tribes when we talked about books last time, but that's what it is. Creating your own tribe you can count on.
Yep, for sure.
All right, my friends, have a good week, and
You too, my
we'll
man.
talk to you all next week. Ciao, ciao.
Take care.
You have just listened to the Done by Noon podcast. If you are interested in hearing more, do not hesitate to subscribe to our channel. Click on the 5 stars or check out our free tools and trainings at donebynoonpodcast.com. Thanks again for listening and stay awesome. We'll see you next time.